panel, why book reviews matter. I am the kind of person who will always go and read book reviews before buying a book, but maybe it's just me. So I've got some authors, some readers, publishers, editors, pretty much everybody to join us and talk about why book reviews matter. So chime in, Jez.
Hi, I'm Jez. I write for firstcomicsnews.com. I do book reviews and I like to read a lot.
Awesome. Ani.
Hi, I'm Ani. I'm the author of Stars of Heroes and Spirit of the Lone Horse. Well, Spirit of the Lone Horse is part of Stars of Heroes. Never mind. I'm also a blogger.
Wow, awesome. Heidi.
Hi, I'm Heidi Angel, and I do book reviews at HeidiAngel.com, and I'm also an author.
Very cool. Philip.
I'm Phil. Let's see here. I do a little bit of everything when it comes to the writing world. I'm a reader. I do reviews at revkessreviews.wordpress.com. I also interview authors, as Andy well knows. Let's see here. I finished my first book last year. Haven't got it edited for publishing. I'm working on my second and third books this year, and they will be published under my own publisher, which is Saturn Returns Publishing.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, let's start from the reader's perspective. All of us here are probably pretty close to bookaholics. So why do book reviews matter to you as a reader? Anyone?
Well, a lot of times, well, I should say, ratings don't matter so much to me, but reviews themselves give me an idea of what's in the story and whether or not I'll enjoy it. Because, you know, they say that there's a book out there for everybody. And sometimes something that other people absolutely loved and gave it 5-star ratings, 5-star ratings, 5-star ratings may contain material that doesn't really appeal to me. And a lot of times, especially with indie books, the back cover doesn't always make that clear, sorry. And so you don't know what you're getting into until you actually read the reviews and see what other people have to say about it. Sorry.
I actually look at the 1 to 2-star reviews because I figure they're more honest than the 5 and 4-star reviews. Because you don't know, Amazon's coming down on that, but you really don't know where they got the book and how they're related to the author. But the 1 and 2-star reviews, you know, they're blatant and they're honest, they're blunt. Sometimes I have to ignore them when I'm really intrigued by the book, just because I want to make sure I'm not being biased.
Interesting. So you ignore the 1 or 2-star reviews and read only the higher, or ignore the 4 and 5 and only read the 1 and 2?
I only read the 1 and 2s. Because if they've got a high percentage of, if they've got a high percentage of 5s and 4s, and they've got if it's like 1% of 1 or 2s, then I ignore them. But if it's like 12% of 1 and 2s and like a 20% of 5 or 4s, then I go, okay, why is 12% of the people complaining, you know?
Which leads to sort of the question, the addendum, will you read books if they don't have a decent rating? Like, let's say, I will say 4 stars and above is, let's say, a good rating. So now if something's 3 stars, 3.5, 3.8, will you consider it or will you move on?
It depends, because there's so many books out there. I'm like really specific anyway. I'm really, I really go by the cover, or I go by the summary, or I go by certain things. So I'm not hitting the 3.8s. I'm usually looking at the Kindle, Kindle best-selling 100s, which is ironic considering where my book is.
I find the Kindle bestsellers to be not very useful personally. Mm-hmm. It's always, to me, it's very generic and trope fiction.
Right.
So I like reading things that are different. That I guess that's why I enjoy reading indie so much. I don't try to read just exclusively indie. It's not like it's an intention, but you can only read so many Bond-esque books before you get sick of the the spy thriller style,
Right.
but then when you come across indie authors that are taking it from a unique angle, all of a sudden it's not so trope. And
No, true. No, very true. But you can't tell these days whether they're indie or not.
Yeah, absolutely, that's true.
And it's really, it's not the best sellers per se. It's their top 100, and it's their free ones. I don't really go for the. I should go for the paid ones, but when you don't have a budget for paid books, the top 100 frees are nice. And I really have a collection of about 1,000 Kindle books I have to read.
Yeah,
sounds so familiar. But
Jez?
Yes. So I have a hard time like reading, I guess, reviews sometimes, because what she was saying, I like to look at a book and kind of almost determine on my own whether or not I want to read it, which is kind of ironic since I am a reviewer and I want people to read my reviews. So yeah, and like she was saying, there's so many different books out there, and it's much easier now, I think, to publish an indie book. And because it's much easier, there is a lot of crap out there. And you can get people to write reviews for you and give you a gazillion stars, and sometimes it's a bit misleading. So when I do read book reviews, I do mostly comic books, but I do read a lot of actual books too. What she was saying, like, I kind of see what the difference in ratings are, and see how honest people are. Because if you're, oh, this is the most amazing thing I've ever read, well, probably not.
There's a lot of the most amazing ever read, right?
Right. So many books that are just the most amazing thing. I read a book, and it was a really great book. And I actually started writing my review before I finished the last chapter of the book. And it was very well written. I loved the story. And the last 3 chapters of the book, he slammed his philosophy down your face. And
oh, jeez.
Yeah, I'm like, so everything that I just wrote, I can't post this. So, there's and too, like, when people write reviews, do you actually read the entire book? Because a lot of people write so many reviews and read so much that they actually just kind of skim the book, and that's, again, very misleading.
Yeah, as a reader, I can't not finish, which can sometimes get really frustrating, which is why I'm so picky about what I do read, because I remember spending 8 months reading In the Name of the King, which is Arthurian legend, and it is a tome, and it is very dry. I remember beating my head against a wall one night. I was like, why can't I just stop reading this horrible book? So if you look at the book, it's got tons of great reviews. That's just my opinion, because I'm not really into the whole history behind, was Arthur real? I like Arthur. It doesn't matter if he was real or not. He's awesome. Give me a book about Arthur? Sure. Give me a book about the history of Arthur? Please. And so that's part of why I don't look at ratings so much as reading the top most helpful reviews, because and then another reason is because I almost never give 5-star reviews. And I've had authors come back to me and they're like, you say this is an amazing book, this is absolutely great, this is absolutely wonderful, why did you only give me 4 stars? Why did you only give me 3 stars? I only give my own books 4 stars, to be perfectly honest, because to me, to get 5 stars, it has to be absolutely perfect. It has to have no spelling errors, no grammar errors, and it has to appeal to anybody and everybody. And at that point, I probably don't want to read that book. So I don't think I've ever, Orson Scott Card, one of my favorite authors, haven't read a book of his that I didn't absolutely love, still doesn't get 5 stars from me. Does that mean he sucks? No, because if you look at the way other people review it, they give him 5 stars all the time. And then there are a lot of people who absolutely hate him because of his moral stance, and they give him 1-star reviews.
Yeah.
You know, so the star ratings to me are arbitrary at best. And when people talk about what they liked and what they didn't like about the book, that's where I really get the value from reviews.
Interesting. I've noticed that like a lot of my favorite books by Brandon Sanderson, Scott Lynch, Brent Weeks, their reviews actually hang out like they're maybe 3.8 to 4.2 stars. You know, there's thousands of reviews, but I guess like you said, there was a lot of people who didn't find the book appealing, or so like. I agree in many ways that star rating is not as important as the text reviews.
Absolutely, because if an author is doing their job right, I'm either going to love it or hate it. If I just feel so about it, you didn't do your job right. So.
Interesting.
I try not to give like the star ratings or 1 out of 5. I don't do that. Period. I'm gonna say, and the way I write my reviews, I kind of start out like, what's going on in my life right now? So why am I reading this book? Because what you were saying, when you read the book, it's not, sometimes you can't finish the book right away because you have a bunch of stuff going on. So is it so good that you're willing to push everything else that's going on in your life away in order to make time for this book? Or is the book kind of okay to where, you know what, I can wait a little bit, I got a bunch of other stuff going on? So I feel that's very important, and okay, well, this book is so great that I can't stop reading it. And that's something that if someone mentions in a review, that's going to be more, I guess, well, if they can't stop reading, and then there's a good chance that I probably won't.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, now let's take it from the author's perspective. As an author, I know that I love reading my reviews, not because I want to hear people blow smoke up my ass, but because I really want to learn, you know, what I'm doing right, what people connect with, but then also what I'm doing wrong. Like one of the few 3-star reviews that I have is the most useful review I've received today, because it pointed out a lot of typos, a lot of things that were unclear, and so I went back and corrected it. And the book is much better as a result. But as authors, what do you look for in a good review?
Honesty. I want to know what I'm doing wrong. I want to know. I don't want smoke blown up my ass. If I've touched somebody, great. If I haven't touched somebody, I need to know that. I mean, one of the a couple of the reviews I've had with Spirit has been, you know, too detailed, too confusing, too whatever. And I've taken that to heart. And so the second book I'm working on right now, I've watched my details. I've watched how much trivia I'm doing. I've learned from my mistake. I mean, yeah, really, Spirit's not a mistake, but I tried to do too much with it, and I know I did. So because I wanted to make this big splash as a rookie author. Now the second book, even though I've been writing for 30 years, now the second book is more focused, more refined, and even the third book and the 15th and the 18th one, which I'm also working on at the same time, it's all about the reviews. If they're done good, they give you as you said, they give you the feedback you need to improve your craft. If they're just blowing smoke up your ass, they're just blowing smoke up your ass.
Interesting. Philip.
Well, that's actually one of the hardest things for me to try to figure out when somebody reads what I've written. Like I said at the start, I haven't actually gotten anything of my own published, at least not book length. I've had lots of articles and essays and stuff like that published. But when I have people read what I've written and they're like, oh my God, this is just so good, I want more. I'm like, are you just saying that because you're my friend? Are you just saying that because you want me to give you a good review when I read your stuff? Or are you actually being totally honest with me? So what I've been doing in the process of getting ready to publish my own works is that I've been finding beta readers, people that don't know me from Adam, and going, give me your opinion. Here's a little blurb to see if you want to actually take the time to read the whole thing. And I kind of base it on that. And since I do editing as well, I've got people that, they'll tell me flat out honest, hey, your story's great. Your grammar sucks rocks. What were you doing? And it's like, okay, apparently I wasn't in editor mode while I was writing, which is where I want to be anyways. I don't want to be in editor mode when I write. But I want people who are going to read it to actually be honest with me and tell me what sucks, what needs work, what's confusing, and tell me if I'm being a little too Stephen King, too detailed. I've only been able to read one Stephen King novel from start to finish, and that's because he wasn't overly detailed. He left things up to the imagination.
We lost you again.
I guess that's just like a sign that you've been talking for too long. Now let me ask you this. All three, four of you. What is more important, the review, like the reviews, or the look inside? Like before I accept any book for review, or before I buy any book, I will look inside the Kindle version and I'll read the first chapter or the first excerpt. And if I can't get past that, I don't care if the book has a 5-star review or a 1-star review. If I can't get past it and get into the story, I won't read it. What do you think?
No, look inside is very important. I will, because I do editing and writing too. And if my grammar alarm goes off, that's it. It's like, I have to be very intrigued with the story to get past that. I mean, once I commit to reading a book, I have to finish it. I mean, I remember reading this steampunk book, and I started getting bored with the characters, and I put it aside because I didn't want to finish it. But I was so intrigued by the story, I had to come back to it and force myself to finish it because I just wanted to find out what went on. Even though I found the characters shallow, even though I found the thing a little too weird, I was still intrigued enough by the story that I had to finish it. I just needed about a 3-week break between trying to finish it and not. And then I had a book that was superficial, started out superficial, but by the end I wanted to read all the rest of the sequels. So yeah, the look inside does play a big part in what I decide, maybe more than the reviews.
For me, the look inside is the last test. If I don't get past the reviews, I won't get to the look inside. But again, I have that compulsive need to finish things. So if you've got good reviews and okay grammar, I'll probably end up reading your book. If you've got great reviews and then I go in and I can't make it fast, like, okay, perfect example, 50 Shades of Grey. I wasn't really interested in reading 50 Shades of Grey, but it had all these great reviews. And I'm like, okay, so what is the deal? I had just published a book and I was like, why is this person like blowing everything up? And I looked at the reviews and I was talking about how hot it was and how amazing it was and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, so it's erotica. Great. And then I opened up the first page because I'm like, I got to learn something because it can't just be that it's erotica, right? Apparently that's what it was because I couldn't make it past the first page without banging my head against my desk.
Yeah, I did not read 50 Shades, but I heard that
so
it was do not read for literary content. Because there is no value there.
And not even that no value literary wise, just like sentence structure is the kind of stuff that most authors blow by in their first 2 months of writing. It's just the worst sentence structure and grammar and like everything ever.
Yeah, but and most authors, they'll catch that stuff on the first read through. She didn't. There were several times just in the first page, I couldn't figure out what she was saying. And I'm like, that's not a good way to introduce your characters by confusing me. But I guess she had such a big fan base that was bragging about it that lots of people bought the book. So
I'm a huge stickler for sentence structure. Kind of what you were saying, you kind of look through, thumb through. If I see the same word in in the same sentence, let alone the same paragraph, using as a descriptive word, I usually I won't read it. It's very annoying. It's just a huge pet peeve, and I know that if you're doing this now, it's going to be the same throughout the book. And you can pretty much tell, like, it's gonna happen because they're just doing it already. You know, use a thesaurus, people. Like, there are ways to make it not be repetitive. And I use a lot of semicolons and em dashes when because I kind of think in broken thoughts. So I think that people are kind of scared to use them. I think they're fun because it does, like, okay, so when you're writing from a perspective of your character, you're really sometimes not writing from the perspective of the character. Sometimes the author starts writing from the perspective of themselves viewing the character. So sometimes it kind of gets a little, I don't know, mixed up. But if you, another huge thing that I have a hard problem reading are like giant blocky paragraphs. Like, there are ways to break up your paragraphs and to read this. Like, this is just a big blocky blob in the middle of a page. So it's very unappealing.
Some authors need to go back to middle school when they tell you 4 to 5 sentences equals 1 paragraph.
Right.
5 sentences. And the sentence shouldn't be 3 lines long. Should not be.
It can be if you
sentences.
do it correctly, but not everyone needs to be.
Oh yeah, no.
All right, now here's a question. Can you spot fake reviews?
Yes.
How?
Okay, so this is actually one that I'm sad to say is on my Amazon account. And I didn't realize that this young lady was looking to get into the charging. I wasn't charged for the review. She was one of the people on Goodreads that volunteered to do it. She now charges $10 a review. But she wrote the review for my Hunters series, and she couldn't get the characters' names right. She compared them to the Scooby-Doo gang, which mine is mature content, and they're not investigating anything. They're killing vampires. And, you know, just I had a bunch of people, they emailed me and they're like, what was this person smoking when they read your book? And I was like, I don't know. I can't tell you. Honestly, I don't think she read it. I really don't, but whatever. But a lot of times those are the key things to being able to tell if somebody is faking a review, is when they don't know the characters' names, they don't give you much more than what's on the back of the cover. And I absolutely loved it, but they never tell you because. That's how fake reviews go. Because those people that are charging authors $5 for a review, they're not reading your book.
No.
They're reading the back cover, they're flipping through it, they might pick one scene to comment on. If they only comment on one scene in the book, that's another dead giveaway. And they don't know anything about the story. Those are dead giveaways that those are fake reviews.
Interesting.
And they're always 5 stars. Or I've seen a new thing that I haven't seen a whole lot of it on Amazon and Goodreads, but I've seen people posting that they'll do fake reviews on your competitors. And pay to get people 1-star reviews. I know, isn't that horrible? Authors can be really horrible people. Not all of us, but there are some of us. It's awful.
Actually, Amazon's supposed to be cracking down against financial incentive reviews. You're not even supposed to be able to give free copies now.
I think it's okay to give away free copies as long as they state it in the review. Because I have a lot that have my reviews say or received a free copy of the book in exchange for an honest review. Right. And I just put that whenever authors give me their books, I put that at the top of the review, and I've never had any of my reviews taken down
okay.
from Amazon or Goodreads.
That's good. Philip, what about you? Can you spot a fake?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Hey, I'm here. Spotting a fake can be pretty easy, you know, like you were saying, Heidi, if it's a 5-star review and it's like a 1 or 2 line, you know, that minimum length with no detail, yeah, it's most likely going to be a fake. Or not necessarily a fake, but a close friend or family member review.
Okay.
When they refer to the author by a shortened version of their name.
Or by first name.
Yeah. I mean, I'll refer to an author by first name if I've read several of their books and reviewed them or interviewed them. And when I do my own reviews, I do like you do. I put kind of a disclaimer. In the sense of full disclosure, I received a copy of blah 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 or whatever. And a friend of mine just last month published her first novel. Well, it's going to be, for anybody who knows me, obvious I know her. But to spot a fake, it is actually pretty easy if you've read several reviews. I honestly don't read the reviews most of the time. I look to see how many reviews they've gotten, not necessarily what the ranking is, and how long they've been out. If it's somebody that I've read before, I'm not even going to look at the review. If I enjoyed their first book or their second book or whatever, I'm going to read the rest until I find something I don't like. But fakes, yeah, they're a dime a dozen, unfortunately. They're out there. And I'm so glad that people are cracking down on the profiteering from it. It's like, I've never been offered money to do a review. I've been offered a review in exchange.
Yeah.
And I loved that idea. But
I
yeah.
did until I had a bad experience. She posted it as a 5-star review, and then when mine came out with a 4-star, she gave me a 2-star.
Oh, geez.
So, and that's fine. If she really felt that way, that's super, but I don't know now, so.
I always, when that happens, it's happened like a lot in the past couple of months. I just tell the author, look, I couldn't give it better than a 3-star review for this. I hope it doesn't affect your review of my book. And the author ended up, giving me 4 or 5-star reviews for my book. And they say, no, it doesn't. I always make sure that it's very clear beforehand, don't punish my book because your book sucks,
Well, I've kind of just made it a rule that, I won't do read for review exchanges. Yeah. I'll read your book and I'll do a review, and if you choose to do that for me, great.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to ask for it anymore.
Yeah. Very good. All right. Well, that's our time. Thank you guys so much for joining in. This was awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was a delight, as always.
Awesome. If you want to find out more about Philip, Ani, Jez, and Heidi, check out the links below and find more about them.